Let's get into it. Today we're talking money babies. If you're new here, hi, my name is Nyaki and I talk about making money, but also about making money babies in my quest to retire at 40. I'm 33 right now and I've got 7 years to go. And so this channel is dedicated to teaching you how I am making money and making money babies with the hopes that I will retire in 7 years. So let's get into it. What are dividends? Why they form part of our saving and investing strategy, and what we use them for, what you can use them for, and where to get these magic dividends. So firstly, let me start off by prefacing this entire video and saying that dividends are not going to make you rich quick. That is a misconception that a lot of us have, that, well, if I just buy some shares that are going to get some dividends, like in 3 years time, I'll be stacking money to the ceiling. And that is not entirely true. So we're going to talk about that. So firstly, let's talk about what is a dividend. Dividends are the profit or profit share that you get from a listed company that you have shares in. So you have shares in a company, call it Apple. And every year, Apple declares a profit for its shareholders, because now you have shares, you're a shareholder. What happens is that each share that you own, so if you've got 10 shares from Apple, will then be liable or expect a dividend if Apple is declaring dividends that year of a particular amount. So dividends ranges from anything from a couple of cents to like bigger monies. And so the amount of money that you will get ultimately is dependent on two things. So how much dividends is declared, like per share, but also how many shares you have. So recently Sasol declared a dividend of 10 Rand, but before that they had declared a dividend of 87 cents. So if you had 10 shares at a dividend of 87 cents, you would have gotten 87 cents times 10, 8 Rand 70. That would have been your dividends. See, not earth-breaking, not earth-shattering. However, if you had 10 dividends, if you had 10 shares and they declared a dividend of 10 rands, then you would get 10 rand times that 10 dividends, which is 100 rand. So that's the difference. Different companies declare shares at different times of the year, but also the number of times may vary in a year. So some companies will declare dividends quarterly, some will declare dividends bi-monthly. It really just depends as to, or biannually rather, it really just depends as to how the business is performing in that year or in that financial year, and if they can, give money to their shareholders. If they can, they do. If they don't, well, then you don't get dividends for that year. So it's not guaranteed. It's not like if I have this, then every year I'm going to get that. That being said, though, there are many shares that do perform, so based on historical data, but also like projected future gross earnings, insert all the fancy lingo here that I know nothing about, will continuously declare dividends, right? So these are known as like dividends producing shares. I know people call them something else, but let's call them that for right now. So these are shares that specifically that business is always declaring dividends, and generally their dividends are quite good. There are a number of these and you have to do your research to find these. And if you comment below, I might create another video just to tell you what my dividends shares are, and I will give you a little bit of insight on that if I don't touch on that today. So now that you know what a dividend is and you know how often they're declared, how do you then use your dividends in your investing strategy? So one of two things. So the first part that you have to understand is that generally dividend bearing shares don't yield a lot of growth. So where a share that may not give dividends will grow quite exponentially in the year or in the, as time goes, dividend bearing shares kind of are quite flat in their growth. So at the beginning of the year, a share might be 5 Rand. At the end of the year, it might be 6 Rand. Whereas a share that doesn't give dividends maybe 5 Rand, and then at the end of the year could be 10 Rand. So you miss out on that aspect in that your overall portfolio may not grow as quickly as someone who may not have a lot of dividends bearing shares. So what is the strategy then? How do you incorporate them into your saving and investing, money baby making schemes. We have both. We have shares that give good dividends, and we also have shares that give no dividends that perform well. This helps balance our saving and investment portfolio, if I can use that term, in that we know that there is a group of shares that we have that will produce money at a, call it, more rapid and more steady or predictable income than the other ones, right? So we know that shares are not guaranteed, right? We generally, over time, long term, can guarantee success. However, year on year, guaranteed success is not guaranteed, right? Currently, our share investment is down. Entire portfolio is completely in the red, and that's just because of where we are as an economy, as a financial institution, as a world. So that means that while we don't have growth on our overall portfolio, we still have shares that may be declaring dividends just because of the company's performance. A really good example of this is a share like Thungela. So Thungela is a share that you have to do your research on this again, but generally will give like relatively good dividends. You have to find out what that number is, but their share price hasn't performed very well in the past like 18 months. So if you had bought Thungela like 18 months ago, your share is like completely like in the red. That's us. However, you have been getting dividends through the year, and there have been quite healthy dividends. So that's the balance that you kind of have to do. So the strategy then is to kind of incorporate both. Don't lean on to one because then you miss out on the growth, but then don't miss out on the opportunity for dividends because, in bad seasons and in bad financial times, then, your entire portfolio is going to get damaged. So that's the idea with dividends. What else did I want to go through? I have spoken about what a dividend is. I've spoken about basically how you can find them. You just have to do your research. And I will link a video here where my dad talks about dividends specifically. If you want to learn more, because he kind of goes in how to identify them and choosing them and all of that stuff that I don't really want to get into. However, so this is the other thing that I wanted to talk about. So what does dividends like paying look like? What do you do when you get, what do we do anyway when we get our dividends? And like kind of how much is it? I can't tell you exactly how much it is specifically, but I will tell you that because we have the strategy that we've been using for the past couple of years right now is that we reinvest our dividends. So every time we get a dividends declared, we put that money back into the shares and we continue to buy that share. So what that does is that it increases the number of shares that we get. So year on year, the number of dividends we get increases. That's the benefit. The downside though then is that we don't get any money from that. So where some people may use the dividends to go on holiday or to buy some extra things, because effectively it's like free money, right? We don't get that opportunity. That being said though, we have used our dividends to spend to like basically pay for our holiday, because there was one share that we got that declared like amazing dividends, and we were like, ka-ching, money in the bank, let's spend this because we only live once. So there is like, you can be a little bit flexible and a little bit, down to earth about it. But the idea though is that you kind of have to consider at each point what you're doing with that money and what that looks like in the future. So yeah, that is my talk on dividends. Do comment below if you want me to create a part 2 video where I will go through the exact shares that I have in my dividends portfolio. I think I'll create a video if this video gets to like 1,000 views. That's going to be my benchmark. So like this video if you like it, share it with someone is looking for this information and will find it valuable, so that we can get to 1,000 views and we can share what dividends we get. Yeah, that's the deal. Okay, cool. Thank you so much again for tuning in and for joining. Please do subscribe If you want to be kept updated with any of the videos, press the bell notification. I know that will send you like an email alert when I post a new video, and that really helps the channel grow, I believe. And yes, if you have any questions, please do leave them in the chat below, or you can DM me on Instagram. Have a look at the description box as well for any of the additional resources, and I will see you somewhere on the internet. Bye.